in number, looking at E8, making the table and the graph for number 1. We kind of started it in class, so that then you are looking at answering these questions. So this is the E8 that you still should have in your workbook that has the questions. Which person paid the least amount at the fair? You should have been able to answer the most. Which person had the greatest amount for their trip? How does the gate admission affect the graph? How did the gate admission affect our graph? Where did it change our starting point? So on the graph, it changed our what? On the graph, what did it change that as you looked at that? Because Tony's was down here, right? At 0, 0. This is where Tony started out. Where did Jason start out? Up at 8. So I'm not sure if you went 2, 4, 6, 8. But if this was 8, right? This was where Jason started out. So on the graph, how did the admission affect it? It moved it up 8 points, right? So if we were going to say something like that, how did it affect it on the graph? It moved it up 8 points to the 0, 8. Yep.
Would we have to do exact numbers, or could you just do the
I would go with, since up 8 now. You have it in front of you, I'd make sure you add that. How did it change our equation? Someone want to tell us what they put for how it changed your equation? Because the first one was just y equaled what? What was Tony's? Y equaled, anyone have that one? You guys are ready to take notes? Let's do our notes. This is where I see most of you at. So, I can derive the equation for this form, y equals mx, and now y equals mx plus b. This is called a linear function. We're going to talk more about interpreting our slope and our y-intercept. These are linear functions that we are using. We're going to be defining the initial value and the rate of change. So, as we read this part, Bo, would you please start where it said we've spent?
We spent most of this unit learning about proportional relationships, which can be modeled by equations in the form of y independence. Proportional relationships have a constant unit rate. It always stays the same, and they always have the y-intercept at 0.
Okay, so proportional relationships always have that same rate of change, always have the y-intercept of 0, and it's that constant one. Grace, you want to continue?
Sure. In the previous lesson, we started looking at equations that have other y-intercepts. These types of relationships are called linear relationships. Proportional relationships are one special type of linear relationships.
Thane, you want to keep going?
linear relationships are modeled by equation y equals mx plus b, where m represents the slope and b represents the y-intercept.
So,
this
keep going.
is sometimes referred to as slope-intercept, since that is the m and b represent.
So when we talk about the b is going to be our y-intercept, I want you to put right below this for the b, right here, I want you to put b is going to be our beginning. Beginning on graph. Write that in. So b, which is always going to be the number that's added.
Right here, right below here.
Always the number that's added, the b, equals the beginning on the graph. It might be 0, 0. It might be 0, 4. It might be 0, negative 2. What do you notice is the same on all of those? The which point? The x. The x is the same in every single one of these, and this beginning point is always on. The beginning on our graph is always on the y-axis. Okay? That's the up and down axis. That's your y. The m is going to be our movement. They said what word, Kayla, with m up here when we were reading? Slope. So movement, what did we say slope was the very first time? 2 words, R over R. Slope equals
Rise over run.
rise over run. Everyone, slope equals rise over run. That was so weak. I know it's Friday. Let's try it again. Slope equals rise over run. Okay, so every time. Now, today, you're going to have a little homework quiz at the end of the period where I'm going to give you some lines and just simply ask you for the slope. I'm looking for the counting rise over run. You don't even have to use the formula that we've already learned, okay? So, we're going to identify this. It says identify the slope and y-intercept. So, in your equation, please write this down first. Y equals m x plus b. I want you to notice it's always a plus. Okay? Always, always, always a plus. So, m is our movement, m is the slope, b is the y-intercept. In that first one, as you look at it, Carmen, what would you tell us our slope looks to be? 2. Can we write 2 as a fraction when we go to do our graphs? We put it, Bo, as what? 2 over? 2 over 1. I only really need this answer 2. Okay? Adam, what's our y-intercept then? Plus 5. Y-intercept is 5. What does that mean on the graph? On our graph, it would mean the point 0, 5. So, first thing in this equation, we got a minus. Let's change it to addition. If we change it to addition, I have to change it to plus a negative 7. So, looking at that, Layla, what is my slope?
-1/2.
Negative 1/2. Chloe, what is my y-intercept? Negative 7. That means my start point on the graph when I go to graph this is 0, -7. Okay?
So let's look at this next one. Now we already said that our m, whatever is multiplied by x, is going to be our slope, right? Our m. So on this one, what do we technically have in front of x? 1. Awesome. So with that in mind, Ava, what do you think our slope would be?
1.
Good. And Daniel, what is our y-intercept? 4. Good. And that will give us a point on our graph of 0, 4, right? Okay. And finally, let's look at this one. Carter, if we have a negative x, what number is out in front of our x, first of all?
No Carter.
There's no Carter.
Connor.
Connor. I'm sorry, Connor.
Oh,
That's so
close though.
close, yeah. Connor, what do you think? 1? Okay, so let's put that 1 out again. So, Bo, what would our slope be, do you think? It's whatever's multiplied by x. So, let's look back up here.
Oh, slope 1.
Right, slope. Everyone agrees -1? Okay. Because our slope, again, is whatever is multiplied by x.
And if you put 1, it's going to be wrong. We want the -1, which is telling us which way is our line slanting? Up or down? To the right.
That way, right?
Down to the right, right? Whereas this one's going up to the right, okay?
And then, got it? Awesome, okay. So, again, we have a minus 1.5. What can we change that to, Grace?
Plus -1.5.
Right, because in our slope-intercept form, it should always be plus something. So, is it Raya? Okay, what would our y-intercept be?
-1.5.
Good. And what point would that give us on our graph?
0.
Exactly.
And when you go to graph those half points, it's just halfway in between 1 and -1 and -2, right? It's not hard to do. You can look at that.
So, yeah. Okay. So this is a little different. Remember that our slope-intercept form is going to be. Who wants to remind me what that is? Is it coordinate?
Everyone, let's say it together.
Everyone, yeah. Okay. What's slope-intercept form? It's going to start with y.
Y equals mx plus b.
Awesome. Okay. We know that. Is this in slope-intercept form? Our first one. We have y minus 8. No. So what do you think we should do? Ava, what do you think? Yeah. So, can you say that one more time? You're close. I guess what I would.
What else do you think,
Yeah.
Carmen? Not Carmen, Ellie.
Would you add 8 to get y by itself?
Yeah. So. Awesome.
Yes!
So what you want to do basically is, since in this form it's so easy to figure out what is our slope, it's what's multiplied by x. What is our y-intercept? It's whatever's added at the end. You want to put it in that form. So here we would just add 8 to both sides, right?
Remember literal equations, the end of the last unit when we did those and I said rewrite them in that one joke sheet and they had to get them all in y equals the x plus the number. This is why. This is why we were doing that in that last unit, okay?
So if we add 8 to both sides, this is going to go away. So we have just y on the left side. This stays the same. We have -3 fourths x plus 8. Thane, is this in slope-intercept form?
No.
Right here, is this in slope-intercept form?
I thought you meant that.
Oh, no. Good. So now we have it in our slope-intercept form, which is what they wanted. We write that in our box. And what is our slope in this equation? Good. So we're going to rise. So could we also write this as 3 over -4? Is that any different?
Put them both down. We want, this is all the same thing, right? And could the negative just be out in front? Because what decimal would that give us? Negative what? 0.75. So the negative doesn't matter and it will help us in our graphing part, right? What did most of you have for your y-intercept? 8.
8,
Nice.
good. Just one quick thing. Should we keep this as a fraction or decimal? What do you think is going to be more helpful when it comes to graphing? Is it easier to graph a run of 0.75 or a rise of 0.75, or should we do rise 3, run -4? What's going to be easier? The fraction, yeah. I prefer it in a fraction, but
And it will make
Yeah.
your life easier.
yeah, I suggest that. So, okay, let's look at this next one. This is a little bit messier, isn't it? So how would we solve for y in this case? What would our first step be, Chloe?
Oh,
Oh,
wait, you minus.
yeah, you got it. Yeah.
You would subtract.
So we want y alone, right?
So I'd subtract 3, or I don't know.
Not y. Y or Layla, is it?
Yeah.
Yeah. What do you think?
Add 9x to both sides.
Good. I like that step. Yep.
And the main thing here is that the y's already positive. So, and if we don't have to move as many things, that makes it a little easier.
Yeah.
So Thane, what are we gonna write, or Wyatt, what are you gonna write? 3y equals what?
3y equals 9x minus 6.
Okay. So you see what Wyatt did? He put this 9x first, which is good because in our slope-intercept form, we have y equals mx plus b. So he's kind of making it a more convenient form, which is going to be good because now we can more easily see where's our slope and stuff. So, but have we solved for y yet? Y yet? Haha. I didn't try to do that. Wyatt, what do you think?
3 on both sides.
Yep, so we haven't quite put it in y equals mx plus b. We have 3y, but we don't really want that. So we divide both sides by 3.
And we're gonna actually divide each one individually, right? That's what we wanna be thinking, because sometimes that first one, if we leave it, we wanna think of it, each one is simplifying each one of those.
Okay, Adam, what do we get on the left side?
Y equals 3x.
Equals 3x. And what else do we have?
And minus 2.
Awesome, good job. So this is in our slope-intercept form. Good.
And you see the two down below, so we're gonna write in our slope and y-intercept. I want you, or no, not this one yet. We'll go to the next. Okay,
Okay, so as a class, what is our slope? I think we're all pretty good at this. 3, good. So whatever is multiplied by x and our y-intercept,
Negative.
-2.
you win that one, okay. And what point does that give us? 0, comma, -2, right? All right.
alright, so now you're gonna have some situations in writing. So your homework is gonna have all 3 of these different ones, plus what we're gonna look on the next page of how to graph it. So it says your bank account has $37. Each month you're gonna put $12 in the account. You don't spend any money in this account, so read the problem carefully, identify the rate of change. What is our rate of change? How much are we continually adding? What are we adding all the time in this case, Grace?
$12.
We are adding 12. So we're plus 12. That means my slope, m, is equal to 12. Okay? Brett, when you read the situation, it says identify the beginning point. What did we have at the start of our bank account, the beginning?
37.
We had 37. So at the beginning, we have 37. That's our B. So if we're going to write our equation, what should I be looking at, Zach?
37x.
Is that my rate of change? Am I adding 37 to my account each? No. What am I adding? So this is the M, this is my rate of change. 12. We're adding 12, so it's a positive 12. This is my rate of change. And then Carmen, what is my starting? So plus the 37. Okay? So sometimes it's easier to identify this and other times not so much. But this is what we are always going to be kind of looking at. So as we look at this next part, now you're going to be asked to graph. And this is why when Mr. Lehman was talking, we kept that slope as a fraction. So first thing it asks you to do is identify your M. M is our movement. So right here, we're going to put M equals, our movement, Kayla, was, in our equation, our slope, 1/4. Remember, that tells us rise over run. Should this tell us to go up to the right or down to the right as I look at it, Avery? Positive 1/4. Up. So my graph has to go up to the right. Next it says identify my y-intercept. Sage, when I look at that beginning or y-intercept, B is going to be?
1/4.
We just had 1/4 for the slope. Do you think it should be the y-intercept too?
No.
5. Mx, right, plus b. And if you need to write this on the top of your homework to put that formula to help you identify which one is m and which one is b, so we're going to have 5. But we want to write it as an ordered pair. So Courtney, what am I going to write that as an ordered pair, that beginning? 0 and 5. So it says put a dot on the y-intercept, so 0, 5. Notice it is on the y-intercept, on the y-line. I am now going to rise 1, up 1, and then I'm going to count over 1, 2, 3, 4, and I'm going to put a point. And now you could use the edge of your workbook or the edge of your notes, and we are going to look at this point, and we are going to extend this line so that if I was looking at this straight line, mine's not exactly straight, but it's close. This would be, and I want to put arrows on both ends, and I want to continue it going, and this would be my graph. Okay? What you are going to do now is try the same thing. First thing I want you to do is tell me M equals, and then tell me B equals. And when you tell me the B, after you've written it, then write it as an ordered pair. What's our first step we have to do here? We don't like how this one looks. I don't. Do you?
No.
I want to rewrite it how? Y equals first. Then tell me the M. Tell me the B. I'm going to have you guys come up and put it on the board once you have those. 4x plus 3. What did you say the slope was? 4. And I just heard Mr. Lehman say to someone, how can we write it as a fraction? Write it as a fraction, right? This tells us rise. Put those words behind it. This tells us run. What was my y-intercept, Ellie?
3.
3, and we're going to label that as 0, 3. Where do I want to put my start point going from 0, 0, Daniel?
Probably 3.
Which way is
Oh.
3? Over 3 or up 3?
Up 3.
Up 3. Never, never, never on the X, always on the Y. 0, 3 means don't move left or right, go up 3. Now I am going to do what, Layla?
Go up 4 over 1.
Up 4, so 1, 2, 3, 4 over 1. I can't do that again, right? But I could go back to this point and go down 4, 1, 2, 3, 4, down, and over 1. Do that. 4 is a pretty steep line, right? And if you think back to when we used our graphing calculators of that Desmos calculator, 4 was pretty steep. This is a very steep line compared to the 1/4 was really flat, right? What did we get for our new equation when we divided everything by 2 as we looked at that one? Maddie? You divided everything by 2. What's our first one going to be? Y equals, 5 over 2x plus what? How much? Plus 3. So from that, what do I know, Ava, is my slope?
2.5.
Which one? You've given me 5 over 2, and you've given me the 3. Which one do you want to use for your slope? Everyone, let's say the equation in slope-intercept form. Y equals mx plus b. Okay, one more time. Y equals mx plus b. You want to call a friend or no? You want to? Is someone going to help you? Or you got it. M is what, Ava? 5 over 2. Mx, right? 5 over 2. Next, Zach, what would I have b equaling?
3.
3. Grace, I want my start point. It's where?
0, 3.
0, 3. Kayla, how do I get to 0, 3? Up 3. Carmen, I want to get my slope of 5 over 2. What am I doing from this point? What word do we associate with the top? Rise over run. So tell me what I'm doing from 3. Up 5 over 2. I am only going to get those 2 points on my graph, right? We're going to practice more of the graphing stuff on Monday next week. So as you look at your assignment, we are going to have a quiz in a few minutes. But I want to look, because I think I changed this problem, and I didn't change it the exact same way they did in the book. So we are looking at E9. The first ones, just ask you to rewrite it, right? So at the top of this, let's write our slope-intercept form. Everyone together, what is slope-intercept form? Y equals mx plus b. Right below the m, what word would you like to write so you remember? Slope. Right below the b, we might write y-intercept, right? 1, 2, and 3, you must do the rewrite first. This is like our literal equations, getting the y by itself. 4, 5, and 6, they want you to match. So if you believe, and as you look at these, which one has the negative slope, 4, 5, or 6? Which one has a negative slope when you look at the equations? Daniel.
A.
They're looking at the equations, 4, 5, or 6, not the letters. Which one has the negative slope when we look at the equation? Carmen, did you see it? Which one? 5 has the negative slope, right? Then you're going to match it with the graph. So what I want you to do is just behind it, the graph that matches, I want you to put the letter. How could you check? Which one do you guys think goes with 5, A, B, or C? We think, I heard some people say A because negative slope, right? This number tells us the direction of the line. Oh, is this right? Is it at 4 for the y-intercept? Back here? Yep, they all had 4. Is it down 3 and over 1? Yeah, so behind 5, I'm putting the letter, okay? Number 7 has plus 9, change it to 2. 9's too big, okay? 9 is too big. I want you to change that to a 2. Here's what you have to do when you graph these. I need a y-axis, kind of put it in the middle, and then put your x-axis. Please make sure you label those. So I'm going to go here with a y-axis and an x-axis. Oh, my slope is 1. How can I write 1 as a fraction in number 7? 1 over what? It's a fraction for 1. 1 over 1. You don't have to make it harder. 1 over 1x plus 2, right? As you take a look on the question number 10, instead of 0.6 here, I want you to put 0.5. I just think 0.5 is easier to graph. So where is 0.5 for a y-intercept? It's going to be in between 0 and 1, right? Okay. So you are going to, as soon as we finish our homework quiz, you are going to work on this. So you can keep this open. I handed out this note sheet, okay, for slope. Here's what I want you to do. On this part that's the white part or whatever, so when you look at this, what you are going to be doing is you're going to be folding this so that you can see these 3 words on the bottom.